American League Championship Series Most Valuable Player. I'm sure you know who it is. Where is he? Giancarlo Stanton, step on up here.
When Giancarlo Stanton was traded to the Yankees after his MVP season in 2017, and the Yankees were one game away from the World Series in a year they had no expectations shot through the roof. Stanton had a good first year with the Yankees, but since then he's been marred by injuries, and for the most part, he hasn't lived up to his $25 million a year contract. He's been worth every penny when it matters most during the playoffs though. Even with all the injuries and how brutally he declined in recent years before his postseason renaissance this year, as the highest paid player on the team in his first 2 years with the Yankees and second to third highest paid player on the team since 2020, he was still not at all the worst contract in baseball. There's no way, even before what he's done this postseason, that his contract was worse than Anthony Rendon's with the Angels. Stanton made $32 million this year and is guaranteed $32 million next year. But Rendon, who is set to make over $38 million for the next 3 years, has yet to even see one postseason game with the Angels. At least Stanton's played over 100 games for the Yankees in 5 out of 6 seasons, not including the 2020 COVID season. Rendon, 0. Stanton also never complained about the season being too long.
We got to shorten the season, man. It's too many dang games. 162 games in 185, 3 days, or whatever it is. Man, no. We got to shorten this bad boy up. Let's go.
Stanton has also played almost 200 more games than Mike Trout since 2021. Trout, who was once the best player in the world but is now even more injury prone than Stanton, will still be guaranteed more money than Stanton ever made in a season, even after Stanton's contract expires. Stanton may have lost a lot of mobility due to his multiple injuries, going from the 71st percentile in sprint speed in 2017 to now just the 3rd percentile. Being 6'6" and 245 pounds while about to be 35 years old in a few weeks sure can't help with that. However, what he hasn't lost is always having the right mindset. Whenever he speaks to the media, we tend to always hear him say the right thing. He never makes excuses, and he owns it when he's not playing up to his standards or gets injured. Here's what Aaron Judge had to say about Giancarlo Stanton. That guy's gotten booed so many times at the stadium, on the road, everything. He's been battling some tough injuries along the way, but the guy always shows up when we need him. I can't speak enough about what he does for this team. He's such a leader. He may not be as vocal as others, but when he needs to speak, people always listen. In 8 seasons with the Miami Marlins, Stanton had some great years, especially in 2014 and 17. He was second in NL MVP voting in 2014, and that earned him his 14-year, $325 million contract. He was injured in 2015 and 16, but he was productive when healthy. In his MVP season in 2017, he hit more home runs in a single season than anyone at the time since Barry Bonds hit 73 and Sammy Sosa hit 64 in 2001. Still, the Marlins were missing the playoffs every year, so they decided they're better off not paying him the rest of his contract and traded him to a team that is willing to pay him that kind of money. That happened to be the Yankees, who were a young team at the time. A-Rod and CC Sabathia's long-term contracts coming off the books at that time certainly made it easier for them to pay Stanton's contract. Stanton had a great Yankees debut, homering twice, including his first at-bat as a Yankee, but then he had a rough first month, hitting just .230 with a .313 on-base percentage. He was hearing it from the crowd too.
Strikes out 5 times in a game. And how about this crowd? That's a little harsh, booing him.
He slowly started to play better, and in June and July, Stanton hit .310 with a .367 on-base percentage and .547 slugging percentage, with 13 home runs and 35 RBIs in 52 games during those 2 months. Stanton cooled off after that, but finished the regular season on a 7-game hitting streak and homered in 2 of the last 3 games of the season to finish the year leading the Yankees in home runs and RBIs with 38 and 100. Stanton hit a home run in his postseason debut in the Yankees wild wildcard game in which they beat the A's 7-2. Then he went 4 for 14 in games 1 through 3 of the ALDS before going 0 for 4 in game 4, in which the Yankees lost a series to the hated Red Sox. That season would be the most games he would play as a Yankee to this date, as the following years would be marred by injuries. While primarily a DH since becoming a Yankee, in 2018, Stanton played well in the corner outfield spots when he was asked to do it, as he was a pretty good right fielder for the Marlins, just not a Gold Glove winner. Then all the injuries made him too slow to be anything but a DH, and this year he didn't even play in the field once. Stanton put up some good numbers when healthy in 2019, but was only available for 18 regular season games and 4 postseason games as the Yankees lost the ALCS in 6 games. Stanton got off to a great start in the shortened 2020 COVID season with a 3-run blast off of Max Scherzer in the Yankees' 4-1 win over the defending champion Washington Nationals, and was 8 for 16 in his first 5 games of the season. Because that's physically impossible to sustain even in a 60-game season, he came back down to earth, hitting just 182 in the 8 games he played in August before, you guessed it, he injured his hamstring and didn't return until September 15th. After he came back, he only hit 200 for the rest of the regular season. In the newly implemented best 2 out of 3 wildcard round, Stanton homered in both Yankees wins in Cleveland, helping them advance to the ALDS. Stanton hit .316 in the ALDS and hit 4 home runs in the first 3 games, but it wasn't good enough as the Yankees lost the series in 5 games and Stanton was 0 for 3 in the deciding game. In 2021, a year where the Yankees were very inconsistent, Stanton had a bounce-back year playing in 139 games and hit 35 home runs with 97 RBIs while hitting .273 with a .354 on-base percentage, which are both his best as a Yankee in the years he's played at least 100 games. He even managed to cut down on the strikeouts with a 27.1% K rate, his lowest as a Yankee. He had an inevitable IL stint in May of that year where he tore his quadriceps, but only missed a couple of weeks. He had a pretty solid June coming off the IL, hitting .290 with 5 home runs and 15 RBIs in 24 games that month. It was August when Stanton really caught fire, hitting .327 with 9 home runs and 25 RBIs, with 6 of those coming during the Yankees' 13-game winning streak. That and the 7-game winning streak the Yankees had a month later carried a lot of weight for the Yankees' 92 wins that year. Stanton hit .407 with 5 home runs during their 7-game winning streak. The Yankees only managed to finish as a wild card team again, and while Stanton was great going 3 for 4 with a home run in the wild card game, the Yankees still lost to the hated Red Sox. Stanton would have a brutal decline from here as his injuries would pile up. Not only did his offensive production decline drastically, he also became too immobile to play in the outfield and can only be used as a DH now. In 2022, Stanton had an okay first month and a great May before he couldn't even hit 200 the rest of the year. May alone was enough for him to land an All-Star spot, and he won All-Star Game MVP, but June to the rest of the year outside of the All-Star Game was ugly for him. He finished the year with 31 home runs and 78 RBIs, but also hit just .211 and his K rate shot back up to 30.3% for the season. Stanton at least had his shining moment, hitting a 3-run home run in the first inning of Game 5 of the ALDS, which the Yankees won to move on to the ALCS before getting swept by the Astros. The 2022 postseason as a whole was not good for Stanton as he hit just 188 in 9 playoff games. 2023 started out okay for Stanton. He hit .269 in April, but with just a .296 on base percentage. He was only hitless in 2 games though. He would end up missing a month and a half with yet another IL stint after he strained his left hamstring, the same one he strained in 2020. After this injury, he just looked cooked. He couldn't even hit 200 for the rest of the year and struck out almost 30% of the time he was up. His WRC plus was just 86, 14 points below the league average. His leg injuries seemed to have caught up with him as he had no ability to run anymore. Still, he made no excuses about his injuries.
Giancarlo, I understand you've been trying to protect against some lower body injuries and that's limited your mobility a little bit. Do you think that that is something that you can regain with a clean offseason, a healthy offseason?
Can't produce like this season, so it's got to change.
There was still something Stanton had the ability to do though, and that was the ability to crush the ball on the few occasions when he did make contact because of his sheer strength. What you see on Baseball Savant is proof of that. So are his 24 home runs and 60 RBIs in 101 games, which would be 38 home runs and 96 RBIs in 162 games. With Aaron Judge missing 56 games and the Yankees having no one else who was able to hit consistently during Judge's absence, they missed the playoffs for the first time since 2016 and had their worst record since 1993. Brian Cashman said during the offseason that Stanton is going to wind up getting hurt again, more likely than not, because it seems to be part of his game. Stanton's agent responded by saying, "It's a good reminder for all free agents considering signing in New York, both foreign and domestic, that to play for that team, you've got to be made of Teflon, both mentally and physically, because you can never let your guard down, even in the offseason." Stanton actually managed to stay healthy longer this year than in previous years, but in his first 2 months, he was still the same strikeout or home run type of hitter we've gotten used to seeing. He caught fire in June as he hit 304 with a 377 on base percentage in 18 games. He never hit above 269 in any month last year. This was all before Cashman knew what was inevitable. It probably wasn't appropriate for Cashman to say to the public, but he wasn't wrong. Stanton got injured again and was on the IL until late July. At the time Stanton hit the IL, the Yankees had the best record in Major League Baseball. They went 10-18 when he was on the IL and let their first place lead in the AL East slip away. The Yankees won 3 straight to add to a 5-game winning streak when he came back, but for the rest of the season, Stanton hit just .210 with a 292 on base percentage. His 9 home runs and 27 RBIs in the 45 games after his return from the IL would be 32 home runs and 97 RBIs in 162 games. For the whole season, he was better than last year, but that's not saying much. He hit .233 with a 299 on base percentage and .475 slugging percentage while hitting 27 home runs and 72 RBIs in 114 games. At least his WRC plus was 116, which is above average. He also had the worst walk percentage of his career and sometimes looked like he was swinging with his eyes closed. The Yankees won the AL East by 3 games, but it was Aaron Judge and Juan Soto who led the way for the Yankees, and Gleyber Torres emerged really nicely late in the season once he was penciled in as the leadoff hitter. Stanton had some moments of greatness in the playoffs with the Yankees before, but after hitting just 188 the last time he saw postseason action and no longer being anything close to the superstar he was before all the injuries caught up with him, I don't think he was the one expected to take the Yankees deep into the playoffs. Maybe a home run here or there, but no way it was a sure thing. In the playoffs, while the clear-cut AL MVP Aaron Judge was struggling, Stanton got red hot as he hit 375 in the ALDS against the Royals, and his home run in Game 3 happened to be what won the game to give the Yankees a 2-1 lead. Then he drove in the last Yankees run in Game 4 to help the Yankees advance to the ALCS. In the ALCS, Stanton only hit .222, but all 4 of his hits were home runs, and he led the team in RBIs as a result with 1 more than Juan Soto for the series. What else may not have been imaginable is that he did not strike out once from Game 2 of the ALDS until Game 4 of the ALCS. His home run in Game 4 of the ALCS gave the Yankees a 6-2 lead, which they blew but managed to recover in the 9th inning. If Stanton didn't hit that home run, the Yankees wouldn't have even been in position to recover from the disaster that the 7th inning was. After the game, he was asked about being up 3-1, and he made it clear that he knows the task at hand.
It feels like nothing till we get it done. As far as I'm concerned, we haven't done nothing. We, enjoy this for now, but we got to get it done tomorrow and on to the next.
In Game 5, Stanton got the Yankees on the board while down 2-0 in the 6th inning before Juan Soto hit the go-ahead home run in the 10th inning. Stanton may have gone from not striking out at all for 6 straight games to striking out 5 times in the last 2 games, but the Yankees would not be in the World Series without his home runs. After being named ALCS MVP, once again he gave the perfect answer.
This ain't the trophy I want. I want the next one.
Now, Giancarlo Stanton has the 4th most Yankee postseason home runs of all time, only behind Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, and Mickey Mantle. In no way am I comparing him to Babe Ruth, just to be clear, and I'm well aware that there was no playoffs outside of the World Series until 1969, so yes, I know Babe Ruth's 15 playoff home runs were all in the World Series, the bigger stage than Stanton has ever played on. I still think it's impressive company to be in at all to hit more home runs in as many games in the postseason than Babe Ruth, and he has a chance to catch Mickey Mantle in total postseason home runs in this year's World Series. And he's doing it as a guy who many viewed as a bad contract. I was a big Stanton defender long before I was on YouTube, but until this year's playoffs, I can admit it got harder for me over the years. I'm sorry, Giancarlo, for ever losing faith in you. Ain't nothing but a G-thing, baby. Giancarlo Stanton's going crazy. The Yankees are the team that pays him. Do you think Giancarlo Stanton will continue his postseason renaissance in the World Series? Please let me know in the comments if you think he will or not. Fun fact, for his career, Stanton has hit .309 with a .363 on-base percentage and a .723 slugging percentage, 10 home runs, and 26 RBIs in 25 games at Dodger Stadium. Before anyone tells me most of that came during his time with the Marlins, well, he played 2 games in LA last year in what was easily the worst year of his career and was 2 for 7, and one of those hits was a home run. For the Yankees to finally win their 28th World Series, please, less stupidity in the World Series, okay? You managed to get away with plenty of it during the ALCS. It won't be nearly as easy to get away with against the Dodgers. I guarantee if the Yankees lose the World Series, it'll be because of stupidity. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you could please consider liking the video, that would be much appreciated. And to never miss another video, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. If you do, welcome to the team, and if you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. If you'd like to see my most recent video or the one that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Let's go Yankees. Let's finally win that long-awaited 28th championship.